Internet shorthand comes and goes. There was one bit of shorthand in wide use that you rarely see anymore. In my mind, the loss of this acronym reveals the decline in American culture. Let's go hike and I'll explain. Partly to save time, and partly to appear cool to our peers, we often use Internet shorthand. We say Internet, but really we mean any digital device with a screen and are referring to CMC, or Computer-Mediated Communication. Familiar examples include LOL for laughing out loud, and SMH for shaking my head. More obscure examples include GPOY for gratuitous picture of you, reflecting the shift away from acceptance of countless selfies, and YHBT for you have been trolled, used when someone has been subtly mocked or demeaned online. Some early shorthand has fallen from use. A classic example is 411, as in, what's the 411? In pre-internet days, 411 was information, the 3-digit number you called to get a phone number. I suppose that service still exists. When I tried, I found it was blocked by my VoIP provider, Vonage. Oh, and VoIP is Voice over Internet Protocol. I could unblock it, but why? Like pretty much everyone else, I get phone numbers online. 411 has faded because there are ever fewer persons who remember using that service, and the reference is lost on everyone else. Because 411 doesn't intrinsically evoke the meaning of the shorthand, it didn't make the leap from the physical to the virtual world. But there is a shorthand that does evoke the meaning of the acronym, and until recently was in widespread use, yet we rarely see it now. That shorthand is imho, which is shorthand for, in my humble opinion. The decline in the use of imho goes in lockstep with the loss of civility and freedom in American culture. Usage grew until a precipitous decline in 2010, which social scientists say was the beginning of widespread pressure for wokeness in America. Examining each letter will explain how the decline of imho illustrates the decline in American culture. We can skip the I for in. I'm sure someone would prefer a different preposition in its place, but I think the word choice is perfectly suitable and innocuous. That brings us to my. We are being forced into tribalism in America. We are told that there are no universal characteristics, but also that there is no value in individual characteristics. Our social sum is derived from the groups with which we are identified, and that is groups plural. Intersectionality is a major part of this, where who we are is defined completely by all the groups of which we are a part. Proponents of this view claim to be absolutely anti-racist and anti-sexist, yet they despise my intersectional group, which is the white, heterosexual male, on those very terms. Next is humble. Humility was among the traits we once admired in others. Confidence, compassion, and forgiveness were others. Those are not seen as desirable in our rapidly evolving American culture. Anger, judgmentalism, and outspokenness are now appealing traits. And the trait that leads? Victimhood. I'm supposed to be a victim of my marriage, my employer, the weather, the traffic, and most of all, a victim of traditional cultural values. And finally we have opinion. Nothing is presented as an opinion these days. The surest way to lose an argument is to express a thought as an opinion. Everything is expressed as a fact shared by specific groups since individuality has no value. Where do we get these facts? Often it's from news memes on social media. Where did the news get their facts? We often don't know, and even when we do, few of us take the time to personally review the source to determine if the news account accurately reports what the source says. Here's the deal. While there has been much discussion about fake news in recent years, we need to accept that essentially all news is fake news. It is biased, inaccurate, incomplete, and often intentionally misleading. The objective of news outlets is to attract attention, thereby boosting their revenue. They do this by appealing to weaknesses over which we have little or no control. One example is negativity bias. Another is risk aversion. These are topics for other videos. For now, we'll note that these and other similar traits have been immensely helpful in ensuring the survival of our species, but the media are using them against us. Media use social and psychological science to appeal to us in ways that are powerful and nearly inescapable, yet are so natural and transparent that most folks are unaware they're being manipulated effectively and constantly. This manipulation is not to our benefit, but to the sole benefit of the providers of this content. I've developed 3 life strategies in light of these 3 points. These are based on my Christian faith for 2 reasons. First, Christianity is another traditional aspect of American culture that is under heavy attack. Second, Christian life is an effective defense against all the ills of society. I share a synopsis of each of these 3 life strategies with my behind-the-scenes supporters on Patreon. Some of you may feel compelled to comment that all of this is the fault of the political party to which you do not belong. It is not. The underlying reasons are many and complex, but they are most assuredly amplified by the extreme positions that exemplify all politics these days. It is not the first time America has grappled with devastating socio-political turmoil. The rise of the Ku Klux Klan, McCarthyism. Our nation survived those affronts. Will we survive this one? Maybe. This movement seems especially well designed to destroy America. Time will tell. For now, you should know that if you perceive this as a political issue, with your side proffering a political solution, you're part of the problem. At least that's my humble opinion. I'm Rich Reese, and I'll see you out there.